Today begins Earth Week, a week-long celebration of environmental awareness and respect for our planet. And one of the world's largest and most beautiful organisms is under threat. A report last week showed Australia's Great Barrier Reef has been hit again by a mass bleaching event caused by climate change. So just what does that mean? Keith Kosinski traveled to Australia to see how climate change is affecting the Great Barrier Reef.
It's just the most amazing thing. It's a gift.
One of the 7 natural wonders of the world.
I think it's very beautiful. It's another world down there.
Rated the top must-see destination of 2017.
It's one of the most exciting experiences I've ever done.
Earth's largest living structure, the Great Barrier Reef, is made up of nearly 3,000 reefs that stretch over 1,600 miles down the eastern coast of Australia. It's so impressive, it can even be seen from space. No wonder 2 million people from around the world come to see it every year.
Coral reefs are one of the biggest and diverse ecosystems on the world, basically the tropical rainforests of the ocean.
But now, this reef system that has thrived for nearly 25 million years is turning into a ghost of what it used to be.
It's like a graveyard of the tombstones everywhere of past corals.
Even prompting headlines like this.
It's devastating and worrying to see these corals and these communities that are usually diverse suffer this stress and this fate due to ocean warming.
When we learn about all these horrible things that are happening to the reef, it's really quite a terrifying thought.
As I fly over the reef, it's hard to believe that many of these areas are fighting to survive. Deep aqua blues and lush green islands make it look like paradise. After a hard landing and a bumpy ride, we finally arrived at the Lizard Island Research Station. Here, thousands of scientists from around the world come to study marine science, including Paul Sickle, a marine biologist.
Why is Lizard Island a great spot for you to do research?
Yeah, so there's the lab, and there's the reef. You can't get much closer than that.
So we're in a good spot then.
Absolutely.
This is much more difficult than it looks.
Time to go.
We were ready to dive into another world. Paul shows us corals once vibrant in color, now a dull brown and green. Then a side-by-side comparison, a rare healthy coral, and a coral skeleton caused by bleaching, and then a dead coral. So what's causing it?
We've just experienced the worst coral bleaching event that we've ever had, and there's no question that that was driven by climate change. So we don't have much time to act.
As the oceans warm because of climate change, it's damaging a fragile relationship. See, corals are part of a symbiotic relationship with zooxanthellae algae, which means they need each other to survive. When the water around the coral gets too warm, the coral spits out the zooxanthellae. It loses its color too, and that's called bleaching. This is what a healthy coral reef looks like. This is what it looks like after it's been bleached.
This is the most pristine part of the Great Barrier Reef, and to see it in this condition is really quite heartbreaking.
Terry Hughes, a professor at James Cook University in Australia, led an extensive survey last spring and again this month. He found that nearly the entire reef had suffered some level of bleaching over the last year.
Coral bleaching is a relatively modern phenomenon. It happened for the first time halfway through my career. It's because the baseline temperature of the ocean is going up and up and up, decade by decade, due to global warming.
But scientists are clear, bleaching can be reversed if the conditions that cause it don't last too long.
What's the difference between a bleached coral and a dead coral?
Bleaching is not necessarily a death sentence, but if it persists, it is.
And it's not just about losing a wonder of the world or a beautiful vacation spot. It could mean the loss of a whole ecosystem.
Is there the possibility in the future of a total collapse of the Great Barrier Reef?
It's a possibility, yes. Yeah, as we know it, yeah.
And what does that mean?
That means that most of the organisms that are associated with it are gone. That means that people who like to see this kinds of stuff are not going to be able to see it. In terms of the populations of fish that it supports, people require for food, that's going to be gone. So it'll be a substantial change, and what you have here, nothing compared to what it is now.
Tomorrow, we look at how the Great Barrier Reef supports more than just ocean life as we continue our look at a reef in danger. Keith Kosinski, Channel 1 News.